We're coming on the air with breaking news and a historic moment as well, with opening statements set to start in former President Donald Trump's New York hush money trial. The president has arrived at the courthouse. This, of course, is the first time a former president and a presumptive Republican nominee for president is standing trial for criminal charges. Mr. Trump has pleaded not guilty to 34 counts of falsifying business records. Those counts are related to a 2016 payment made to adult film star Stormy Daniels to keep her quiet about an alleged sexual encounter, all of which the former president has denied. Today's opening statements coming a week after the trial started with jury selection. Now those 12 jurors and 6 alternates are set to hear the case against him and his team's defense in a watershed moment for our country's legal landscape. We start now with our senior legal correspondent, Laura Jarrett. She's made her way to that courthouse there in Lower Manhattan. Laura, what are we expecting to see and hear inside that courtroom this morning?
Well, Craig, it was a little over a year ago that Donald Trump stepped into the courthouse here behind me for his arraignment. Today, he walks in as a criminal defendant for his opening statements in his first criminal trial. A remarkable moment for Mr. Trump, for the 12 jurors that are set to sit in judgment of him, and for the country. A remarkable test, as you said, for our legal system as a whole. Those 34 counts, technically about falsification of business records. But the story that the prosecutors here want to tell, Craig, is far broader than that, far more ambitious. The story that they want to tell, a roadmap, if you will, that they want to lay out today in opening statements is about election interference. In their telling, the Trump campaign back in 2016 was reeling from the release of the Access Hollywood tape and so desperate to make sure that they could shore up the female vote that they tried to bury the story of Stormy Daniels, a story that could have upended the campaign. And so in their telling, and prosecutors telling, Mr. Trump directed his former fixer, Michael Cohen, to pay her off with $130,000. That payment gets made just days before voters went to the polls. But of course, the voters ended up finding out about it anyway. And so the defense team is going to want to lay out, Craig, how Mr. Trump didn't know anything about this plot, this alleged orchestration, that Mr. Trump wasn't involved in it, that Michael Cohen went ahead and did it all on his own. And the defense team wants to say, Craig, even if all of this happened the way prosecutors say, which of course they deny, what's actually being falsified, the actual crime here, are his internal business records, records that would have never seen the light of day. So how could the voters have been fooled? So that's sort of the dueling narratives that we're going to see play out in opening statements here today, Craig.
Laura, after the opening statements, of course, witnesses. The first witness, we've been told, a man named David Pecker. Explain how David Pecker fits into all of this and what's the prosecution hoping to accomplish by calling him first.
It's an interesting strategic move, really, Craig, because David Pecker was the former leader of AMI, which is the parent company of the National Enquirer. Everyone, of course, knows that tabloid. And the reason prosecutors want him, Craig, is because he allows them to put Mr. Trump in the room for when this scheme happened back in 2015. And prosecutors they're going to tell this jury here that Mr. Trump, Mr. Cohen, and David Pecker sat in a room and they decided to try to catch and kill bad stories that could have hurt Mr. Trump. They're going to say that it was Mr. Pecker and Mr. Trump and Cohen who decided that they were going to take and buy bad stories and make sure that other people couldn't publicize them. Now, Mr. Trump doesn't deny that meeting happened. He can't. But he is going to deny that there was anything illegal about it, Craig.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.